Today we're testing out a new NVIDIA card versus an older NVIDIA card, but the new NVIDIA card has less VRAM.
We're going to be battling the RTX 5060 versus the 3060 12GB. Are we actually getting more performance with less VRAM? We'll talk about that after a word from today's sponsor.
If you're in the market for some PC hardware, there's one place you need to check out, and that's today's video sponsor, Micro Center. Right now, August is Build, Upgrade, and Save month, which means huge savings on computer parts. So if you're looking to build your own gaming PC or make some upgrades, there's tons of crazy deals going on right now. One deal that I've been looking at myself is NZXT H7 Flow for just $49. That's an insane price for a high airflow ATX mid-tower gaming PC case with a super sleek aesthetic. Micro Center is also running some amazing deals on Samsung SSDs throughout the entire month of August. The deals remember pricing only though, so you have to be logged into your Micro Center account to see them, but don't worry, it's free to sign up. And if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, you're in luck. Micro Center's newest store will be located in Phoenix, and those looking to get VIP deals should sign up now to get a free 128GB flash drive when the store officially opens. If you're interested in learning more, check out the link in the description down below, and big thanks to Micro Center for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So here we have two GPUs that are part of the 60 lineup from NVIDIA, except one is 2 generations older, the RTX 3060, which originally was a 12GB model. Later on, they did release an 8GB version, but you don't really see that one a ton, and it performed significantly worse. But the 3060 12GB and the 5060, which you can only get in 8GB, which one will be better?
This video is kind of a continuation of our first benchmark video where we took the 5060 versus the 2060 to see how big of a gap it was from the first RTX 20 series 60 level GPU all the way up to the most current one. And now we're going with the 3060 12GB because this card is getting very popular on the used market. We paid $210 for ours, and the real question is, are we actually getting good value versus the new 5060, and is that extra VRAM actually going to help us at all? We'll talk about the key specs you should know about the 3060 12GB, and then the 5060, and then we'll introduce our test bench, which is not sitting here currently, but we have beautiful B-roll to show you guys all about it. So the RTX 3060 12GB released on January 12th of 2021 at a price point of $329 is a PCI 4.0x16 card with 12GB of GDDR6 VRAM. It comes with a TDP of 170 watts and a suggested power supply of only 450 watts with a single 8-pin power connector. And our specific model comes with 3 display ports and 1 HDMI. So we have 4 video out with this EVGA card that we paid $210 for on eBay. This card is getting pretty popular now on the used market. When it launched originally, people did not like the 3060 12GB, but because of the hatred of the 50 series and specifically the 5060, these cards have kind of become an option for budget gamers looking to buy used. But is that a good idea actually when the 5060 in this case is only $90 more? We'll talk about the 5060 specs and then we'll talk about how we're going to test each one.
The RTX 5060 was released on May 19th of 2025. The original launch price was $299 USD, which is about what this card has stayed at since it came out. Now the RTX 5060 is a little bit newer interface. It runs on PCIe Gen 5x8. The 5060 is similar in power draw. It only needs 145 max watts, which is just going to be a single 8-pin PCIe connector. Now this card is basically the same. We actually have 3 display ports and 1 HDMI, but obviously depending on the model, you may get something slightly different.
So in this video, we're gonna do what we normally do with our GPU benchmark battles. We're gonna do what we call our Let's Play style benchmark, where we just play some games, have some fun, show you guys an FPS overlay, and you guys at home can see the difference between the two options, and then we'll do some side-by-side technical testing with built-in benchmark tools to really get down to the nitty-gritty to see what is the difference between the 5060 and the 3060 12GB. Let's introduce our really nice test bench, the 9800X 3D powered by Asus, so you guys can see what we're going to throw these GPUs in, and then we'll dive into benchmarking.
For our Toasty Bros test bench, we have the Ryzen 7 9800X 3D 8-core 16-threaded processor. And to cool the CPU, we're using the Asus ROG Strix LC3 360mm AIO. The motherboard is an Asus TUF Gaming B850 Plus Wi-Fi DDR5 board. We have 32GB of Team Group Delta RGB 6000MHz CL28 RAM. Our NVMe is a 4TB Lexar NM790 Gen 4 SSD. We have plenty of power with the Asus TUF 1200 watt power supply that is fully modular and ATX 3.1 ready. Our case is the Asus TUF GT502, which is a pretty large full tower case, and then we loaded it with Asus TUF TR120mm ARGB fans. So now that we talked about our test bench and we have our 2 GPUs introduced, let's go ahead and combine the 2 and do a lot of benchmarking.
Battle.
All right, we're on the 3060 12GB. And we are running, let's see, we got medium, and we don't have any extra ray tracing on, just like the built-in ray tracing that you literally can't turn off in this game.
Yep.
And we're not running any upscaling right now.
Yeah, this is going to be demanding, guys. And yeah, we're getting like 40 to 30 FPS. Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, when we were running like no enemies, it wasn't too bad, but I would consider this to be close to unplayable. Well, I'm playing, but you get what I'm saying. Close to not a good experience for sure. I would definitely be running some upscaling, which we will try. We always like to show you guys even if you hate it, whether you hate it or love it. We like to show you guys frames and everything because, well, it makes certain systems be able to play the games. And that's really important for us gamers.
Yep, and the biggest question will be, we paid $210 on the used market for this card. Has more VRAM, but obviously we know the GPU is going to be slower. We just want to see what the gap is like and what the price performance is like between these two, especially if you are willing to use upscaling tech that both of them can utilize.
All right, so we're going to stay without upscaling. Let's just call it 35 to 48 FPS. Sometimes we are hitting 50s at times. It almost kind of seems like when there's less enemies, it does a lot better. But all right, let's see what happens if we do whatever we think is going to be the best upscaling for this card. So we'll go DLSS because NVIDIA, and we'll just try performance, no frame generation or anything. See what happens.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I do wonder, especially on performance. I think if we'll see with the 5060 because we'll have to test that with a little bit of actual frame gen. I think if we run that at like quality, I think the game will look a lot better, and we'll probably get like over 100 FPS.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned is too, is you guys seen our benchmarks. The overlay that we are using in game, we have to use this because Afterburner crashes Doom for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but you'll have more detailed information with the other games we test. Nice. So 80 to 90 FPS, sometimes 100, but I would say like 80 is pretty comfortable with DLSS, and then without, 35 to 45 FPS, somewhere in between that range.
I'm just glad it's playable. I mean, this card is, whether you like it or not, it's becoming an older card. But for it being entry level, minus the 3050, which,
yes.
Hey, we got another video coming on that. We're gonna be doing the 5050 versus the 3050, which that'll be really cool as well, just like this video. Oh, that's what, and I'm thinking like for the consistency. All right, we're gonna leave it here, and I might have to run all the way back, or we might have to go to the next part. I don't know what's gonna happen, but let's go ahead and test out the 5060 now. All right, we're testing the RTX 5060 now. Now, I mentioned the whole checkpoint thing. We're past this part, so I'm starting off here, and I mean, hey, I'm gonna show you guys the settings. It's already looking like way better, but at 1080p with no upscaling, medium settings, this is already almost double. Actually, probably is about double the FPS. But let's go to some action. See how much it drops here, if any.
Yeah, I think biggest thing is like, and we've seen this across all our testing, no matter how much we kind of hate the new gen 50 series, how they haven't improved in terms of raw horsepower, in these like forced ray trace titles, they just blow the older cards out of the water. It's something you can't really ignore. If you're playing older games, it may not be that big of a difference, but it's this forced ray tracing, it just makes them run so much better.
Yeah, so once again, almost double the FPS, just raw. I mean, this is no upscaling or anything, and I know that's what everyone says. They're like, well, the only way they're better is with upscaling. It's like, well, it's clearly not true, but let's do some upscaling, which I think is gonna be,
it's gonna be crazy FPS. We did performance last time.
I always have to find the upscaler, so we'll go DLSS.
Performance, yep.
And yeah, we did not do any frame gen. I'm not gonna do frame gen, but hey, there's an option now to do frame gen, which would get us probably a good amount more FPS. Almost doubled, about doubled our FPS again.
Yeah.
So
this will help you play at 1440p as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is already just significantly better. And I mean, I think I would have been happy without upscaling with this card, which with the 3060, I wouldn't have been. And it just goes to show a lot of people just really overdo the whole VRAM argument. I mean, it's cool that the 3090 and the 4090, how much VRAM as they do, but does that mean that they should be worth more than new cards? Not necessarily.
Now, speaking of VRAM, let's go ahead and swap to Indiana Jones, the great VRAM circle. And it eats a bunch of VRAM. We'll see if there's a difference between those two cards, and yeah, this is gonna be a fun test. We're in Indiana Jones, AKA the VRAM hungry game that just breaks things and you all aren't actually playing, which you like to see benchmarked. But we're currently running the following settings. We're at 1080p. The settings in this game are quite confusing. We're on the high preset with medium ray tracing enabled. And the upscaling, resolution scaling is set to dynamic. I want it to be static.
Why is the vegetation ultra?
But yeah, ultra vegetation, by the way. Static, so no upscaling. We're at 100% render scale, and we'll see how this runs. I'm a little concerned. Yeah, it's not amazing.
It looks slow motion.
It does look kind of slow motion. We are at 1080p, and this is 100% on high settings. And VRAM-wise, we were pretty close to max out. We're at our 12 gigs of VRAM. Struggling a little bit. I will say, every time we've tested the 5060 on these settings, it'll work, but there's some things that just won't load in as well, and just it has some issues. But since the GPU is just naturally faster, it normally handles it a little bit better. So I'd imagine we'll see better FPS even though we have less VRAM because the GPU as a whole is faster. I just wish it would have been the best of both worlds if it had the same amount of VRAM as this card did. Yeah, 40 FPS, 30 FPS. Indy's getting tired. He's about to pass out in the heat. But we'll go ahead and see what some upscaling can do, because I mean, we have upscaling, we might as well. So 40 FPS, we'll go with that. But let's do, see, so there's a resolution scaling. We don't need resolution scaling. we want upscaling, which we can do DLSS set to, we'll do performance, keep it pretty consistent here. A difference, but not as much as I thought. I think we're just really VRAM limited with the ray tracing. If we turn off ray tracing, it's just gonna skyrocket. Because yeah, the ray tracing is just really causing problems for us. We're only up to like 50 FPS. This basketball's rolling at me. Doesn't look great, I'll be honest with you. The textures are a little rough. But
another thing we always have to, that we probably should remind people too, is we are running this on the absolute best scenario for like, we're running this on a CPU you'd never pair with these.
Correct.
So keep in mind, whatever FPS you're seeing here, if you do this at home, you will probably get less if you're on a lesser CPU.
Yeah, the static of the 9800X 3D allows you to see the gap between the CPUs, but it's not necessarily going to be a good replication of what you at home would actually see. It just more or less isolates the fact that no game is going to be bottlenecked by our CPU. It's only going to be the GPU. So last thing I'll do is I will turn off ray tracing just for the fun of it. We'll scroll down, ray tracing, let's turn that off, and let's go back in game, and yeah, now it's like 90 FPS, playable. Yeah, I mean, this GPU for 200 bucks is good. The real thing is, how much better in terms of price performance, or is it equal versus the 5060, which again, people dog on the 5060, it's new for $300. So if you're just saving $90, are you really getting that much more bang for your buck? Will that $90 help you out getting a better CPU? Potentially. So we just gotta see how big the gap is. Let's see how the 5060 handles the ray tracing and everything in Indiana Jones. All right, guys, so Indiana Jones is going to be an interesting test with the 5060, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but we're running different settings, not by choice, because we have to, and we'll show you why. We're currently running the medium preset, which, when running the medium preset, and also when our GPU has less than 12 gigs of VRAM, it disables all the options for the additional path tracing, ray tracing we did on the 3060 12 gig, which by default, this game has ray tracing enabled that you just can't turn off. Obviously, there are Reddit threads and people out there saying that there are mods you can get to make it to work, but the future of AAA titles is forced ray tracing, and at least with this card, it's forced ray tracing and also eating up a crap ton of VRAM. So we're running medium settings with ultra vegetation, no upscaling, everything is good. We're on dynamicing, let's run that on static. All right, so we're running on static now. And I mean, we're still getting way more FPS running these settings. And before, even with out ray tracing on, we were only getting like 90 FPS. So we're still getting 135 FPS. So we were running apples to apples at medium settings. This GPU is still better for that. But the fact that it can't go to high, it's a little concerning because I mean, theoretically, these games get more graphically demanding. Maybe at some point it can't go medium and it has to go low. And then at that point, does the visual quality look different? I don't know. It's an important thing to mention. The 5060 is a really powerful GPU. If they did slap it with 12 gigs, maybe a super edition will fix that. It would be an awesome card. And it's still an awesome card, don't get me wrong, but this like VRAM simulator game, for whatever reason that you all want to see tested, I played through the whole game, by the way. You can't say I haven't done it. Just doesn't want to work with it. And hopefully it's not a sign of what other games could be in the future. Because, hey, this is very playable. We're using a lot of our resources too. Like our CPU's at 80%. GPU's 99 maxed out, VRAM is basically maxed out. But just for the fun of it, I'll put on DLSS to show you how high it can go. Just to show you could do some 1440p potentially if it doesn't crash because of VRAM, because again, I don't really know. But we're unbalanced here and see if that makes a difference. I think we're just VRAM limited, and even then, we're VRAM limited with really nice FPS. But for the sake of showing you guys what will happen here when we go to high, I think this will crash or it's gonna force a restart. All right, so it's gonna force a restart, which we will do. I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna launch again so you guys can see the error that happens when it happens, because it's already telling me it's gonna exceed the memory requirement, so I should listen to it, right? Nah, we ain't gonna do that. All right, guys, so we're launching the game right now. Do you guys like this wallpaper? Let us know in the comments down below. But we're launching the game right now, and we're currently running the high preset.
1200 FPS? 1500 FPS?
Whoa! So Jax made the joke, what would happen if it just launches and works this time? Oh, I just heard the doo-doo-doo. There it is, watch this, watch this. There it is, yay! Failed to allocate video memory, total allocated, went over 8, and it just said, I'm just gonna crash.
It's so weird. I feel like most games are so good at just like adapting and using normal RAM.
I guess this game, I don't know how it was developed. It's always been this. Is it a game that you all are playing? Not necessarily, but it is important to show you guys when things don't work with this card. So there you go, Indiana Jones. Technically, I would say it's a do not finish, but if you run medium settings, it will definitely get better FPS versus the 3060 12 gig on lower details, but it doesn't let you run higher settings even if you want to. let's move on to the next game.
All right, we are playing Oblivion Remastered, and we've just been watching this lady. She can't make up her mind. She doesn't know if she should sit or stand.
Sure stand.
But currently we're running 1080p, and we are using the max resolution scale. You could lower that. It's kind of like the equivalent of upscaling almost. And then we got ray tracing set to as low as possible, but it is on. So
I feel like resolution scaling is like the upscaling without the up. It just downscales. Mm-hmm. Basically what you're doing.
Yep. Yeah, you can get a little fancier with the upscaling. You know, you might get better graphics quality that way, but I mean, hey, this is playable. It's kind of like the console like experience. You know, like the OG consoles. It used to run at 30 FPS. Yeah. So not too bad.
Yeah, VRAM is not a problem in 1080p. We are a little over 8 though, technically. So it is a little higher than what the 5060 would be, but normally from our testing we've seen, just a little bit over is not normally going to kill your gaming experience, especially the times we've tested the 5060.
And the wattage, I mean, we're pretty much utilizing like the full card right now. I mean, we're pulling almost 150 watts, but the FPS is pretty stable, pretty good. We're using a lot of RAM.
A lot of RAM, 20 gigs of RAM. We're really cooking the RAM right now. Do they just not want to talk to you right now?
Anymore.
Okay, guess not. Maybe this was a save that was like after we already talked to them and went back down there. There you go, guys. Well, you're not going to be fighting any little elves for consistency, but the FPS is pretty confident, like 45 to 50 without any upscaling.
All right, let's do our usual. We'll run one quick upscale. So we'll try doing this DLSS, do balanced, and this one doesn't have
once
frame
again,
gen
same deal. You have to run FSR frame gen, which you could do.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll give this thing a fighting chance. We'll do both of them in FSR, see like what's different, but kind of want to try frame gen. Frame gen's fun. And we didn't get to do it for Doom.
Yeah, baby.
Heck yeah. All right, so now we're getting like 99. Game doesn't look amazing. It's not like horrible, but I definitely feel like it's a little bit blurrier than it was before, but it's not bad. Pretty playable. 90
to 100 FPS, not the major lag you see normally, but again, that is something that your CPU would be very dependent on. We have the 9800X 3D, so if your CPU bottlenecked and you try to run frame gen, it's not going to be a good time. So it all depends on what you're going to pair with either of these graphics cards.
All right, let's go ahead and try the newer NVIDIA card, the 5060. All right, it's time for Benchmark to shine again in Oblivion Remaster, but we're running 1080p, max render scale, and same exact settings, medium, and we're not using any upscaling, got low ray tracing. And Benchmark is looking pretty good.
I'll say, give it a minute. That CPU is like really high right now.
It's that hill.
There it goes. Oh, CPU, come on. I think it's really trying to do shaders right now.
Yeah, I think it's like doing shaders mid-game.
So it doesn't have launch shaders anymore?
Yeah, they got rid of them.
They got rid of it, so now you're just doing mid-game and it causes that. Okay, it's better now. Your CPU's down to 29%. There we go. Oh, wait, does he have a...
The upskirt?
Is he built?
Holy crap.
Like today's video sponsor, Blue Chip?
All right, we're looking better now. Shaders done, hopefully.
Yep.
But yeah, so now we're getting like 80 plus, it seems like. I bet once we turn this bin to, we'll probably get a little bit less.
Before we're getting 40 to 50 on these settings.
I remember saying it was like surprisingly playable, but I was like, it's not great.
Yeah, this is definitely way more playable.
Yeah, like I could play this on native, not worry about it, but I do know that once we turn on some upscaling, I know we had used FSR before to get frame gen. With this one, we can use DLSS to get frame gen, but we'll do FSR again.
Just keep it consistent.
It works good on NVIDIA GPUs too. This is the saber
fire.
we.
Yeah,
I need to start reloading the right one because there's no goblins, there's no little Jonas to fight.
There's
here.
no run.
All right, let's turn on some upscaling. So we were getting like 70 to 85 before. You can go crazy. Oh my goodness.
Look at that frame time graph. It's going
like
crazy.
180. Now, just like before, I know I said it lowers the quality a little bit, but it's not like it's insane. And the FPS gain is crazy. But yeah, we are using a lot of RAM.
Yeah, I would say this would probably be what I would run if I was trying to do 1440p.
Oh yeah, 1440, which we were launched in 1440p native. We were getting like, what was it, 70, 60, 70? So, I mean, hey, you could technically, some games, this could do 1440p, just probably want to use upscaling. Yeah, the upscaling does help out a lot with the lack of VRAM, especially lower, because I mean, right now we're using 6.8 right now, so you could run 1440p in these games, just utilize upscaling and you'll be happy, but it's a big jump. And Benchmark has never looked so elegante. Oh, and he's done for. He's done benchmarking, guys. He's finally done. RIP benchmark. It's in the comments down below. Cut the cameras.
Now let's try an esports title, but this time we're gonna do it a little bit different. We'll tell you how when we switch to Fortnite. All right, guys. So we're gonna test Fortnite next, but we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna run at 1440p, DX12, and higher settings. So we're running high shadows, far view distance, high textures, high effects, and medium post-processing, no upscaling. We have reflex on. The reason I'm doing this is we've tested Fortnite many times, and every single single time we test it with the same CPU on performance settings, the difference is normally non-existent for budget GPUs, which again, if you want to do that, you can, and you should really be more focused on your CPU than your GPU. Either one of these would probably run high FPS fine, depending on what CPU you pair with it. But I figured this would be a good way for us to actually use Fortnite as a legitimate test to see if there's a performance increase by upgrading the GPU to a new gen GPU running higher details.
Yeah, I think our 9800X 3D on lower settings with like a GT 710 will get over 100 FPS.
And also, it's important to mention 1440p getting much more affordable. People are buying 1440p displays, and you definitely want to test games like this at 1440p, which are what a lot of people are playing. And for a quote-unquote budget GPU, how's it handle 1440p? Let's see.
It's nice seeing Fortnite using almost 100% of our GPU for once.
Exactly. Now, it doesn't not use the CPU, but it's using it far less compared to what it was before.
It's messed up his aim, guys.
Yo. We're gonna reset that one real quick. That was embarrassing. Look at all these shadows, the lighting. This game can look good if you actually run the settings look good. This person wants to kill me. It's like you've done messed up.
Hey, it's Unreal Engine 5. It's got the bones.
It's got the bones, but you all just don't use them bones. Oh!
Uh-oh, that's, you made a mistake. That was a certified gamer.
I feel like that was a bot, and I was
It's
like,
Robin.
I was just gonna run away from him. When you run higher settings, you get harder players. But it's pretty comfortably like 100 to 115 FPS. We'll queue up again just so you can see it. Again, you may not want to run these settings, but it's a good way for us to max out the GPU in this test where we don't want to just be fully reliant on our CPU performance.
Oh, you better be out of ammo.
Any more ammo? Oh!
Oh, they're there. Yeah! Rubber Bandit. I can't believe he was hiding the right time.
That guy was
He wanted it.
He really wanted it.
Sneaky.
But hey, that's a pretty decent job showing you guys what Fortnite looks like. I mean, on higher details. Do you guys even know what this game looks like on higher details? I mean, I forget sometimes what it looks like. It looks pretty dang good. Let's go ahead and swap to the 5060, see how it handles it. But I would say comfortably about 100 to 120 FPS. Will we get higher FPS in this game, especially in a game that's not using all our VRAM? I'd imagine so. Let's just see how much bigger it is. All right, guys, we're now on the 5060 in Fortnite, running the same higher settings. Currently DX12, we got screen space on, ambient occlusion, high, far view distance, high across the board, but medium post-processing at the bottom. But we are running higher details, as mentioned before, just to see if we see a difference in GPU horsepower, because that 3060 was maxed out last time. We'll see if we get higher than the like 120 to 130 we got before.
I'm curious because this one kind of seems like it's close to maxed out too.
It is, so I'd be curious at this point. We are using a lot of the CPU. Again, CPU will vary, but for the most part with these higher details, if I survive long enough, we should see a pretty consistent difference between the two. Because right now, we'll see where we land. If we skyrocket it all, normally that's what happens on Fortnite. Oh yeah.
Because it doesn't really, it doesn't need the VRAM really.
No,
it's only using half.
It's definitely an improvement. We're about 180 to 190 before we're about 120 to 130, which again, if you're running performance settings, those numbers may mean nothing to you. And if you have a 3060 12 gig and you play Fortnite primarily, there's no reason to buy a 5060. But just a cool comparison to show you guys, if you are running higher settings, it can change exactly what your requirements are for your GPU.
And I don't think with this video, normally we don't tell people to do marginal gains. So like if you have a 3060, don't buy a 5060.
No.
But it's more like if you're, maybe debating or just wondering how different are they. Oh, dude, this guy's bold.
What?
Oh.
What? What?
Real player alert.
Hello? No idea where that person went, I'll be real with you. Yeah, this is definitely an improvement in the FPS department, and Fortnite looks good in these settings. And for a lot of gamers, you may want to run these settings instead of running performance mode if you're just not trying to maximize your FPS. And if you are running performance mode, as we mentioned with the 3060, it's very CPU bound at that point. So just really depends on your expectations, what you're trying to do. All right, let's run around. I gotta find somebody to get. Gotta get somebody.
You gotta get it.
See, down here, now I can actually see things. I mean, name another benchmark YouTube channel that has Peter Griffin as a Fortnite skin and the characters like Benchmarkus. Like, we bring the characters to the benchmarks, guys.
All the other streamers and stuff want to run the cool looking characters. We run the interesting looking ones.
Is that Master Chief? Master Chief, I just hit you with the blop blop.
Master Shifu.
Master Shifu. Oh,
that does big damage.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's pushing.
Oh! I got killed by that guy. It was an improvement in FPS, especially in Fortnite. But hey, you know how we do our GPU benchmarks. We have our Let's Play benchmarks. We have some fun, show you guys live action gameplay. But now we're gonna run some built-in benchmarks side by side so you guys can see the real difference and then come to a conclusion about these two GPUs. The 5060 is better and the gap is pretty significant in the games we tested, but it always has that one caveat when it comes to VRAM hungry games. We'll talk about that during the outro. Okay guys, we had some fun doing some Let's Play style benchmarks. Let's go ahead and talk about the side-by-side testing and get things a little more technical so you guys can see the real differences between these GPUs, and then come to a conclusion about the 5060 8GB versus the 3060 12GB, and which one is the better price to performance option. First up, CS2 1080p, we went with high settings, similar to what we did in Fortnite, to really stress the GPU and isolate it from the CPU. With the RTX 3060 12GB, we got an average of 272.2 FPS, so the 1% low of 120.9. While the RTX 5060, we end up with an average of 361.7 FPS with a 1% low of 196.8. When it comes to these esports titles, the 5060 is going to yield you, especially on these higher FPS titles, at least 100 FPS, 80 to 90 at most. Especially in a game like CS, it's really taking advantage of a new GPU here, and VRAM is not a problem in this game. Now, do you really need 200 to 300 FPS for most people? No, you could probably save a little bit of money and run 200 FPS and put that, in this case, $90 back into a better CPU when it gets a 3060 12GB, but it's important to know the 5060 is substantially better in CS2 on these settings. Next up, Marvel Rivals 1080p medium settings with no upscaling. This is a more demanding esports title. With the 3060 12GB, we ended up with an average of 75 FPS with a 1% low of 59, versus the 5060 ended up with an average of 110 with a 1% low of 86. The gap is quite big here. We're actually seeing a pretty decent FPS gap, and this is running native settings without any upscaling. And this is again an esports title that is not going to max out our VRAM. So if you are using a 60 series GPU like the 5060, primarily for games like Marvel Rivals, Valorant, CS2, Apex Legends, even Warzone balanced settings, you're really going to see a substantial upgrade over the 3060 12GB. And next up, we ran Black Myth Wukong 1080p medium settings without any upscaling. The 3060 12GB got an average of 58 FPS with a max of 67, a minimum of 18, while the RTX 5060 ended up with an average of 87 with a max of 106, a minimum of 19. Once again, the averages are much higher here, and this is a more demanding AAA title. And if you do run upscaling on the 3060 12GB, it's not to say that GPU won't be playable, but if you're actually wanting to run native in this situation, the 5060 is the better option. But it is important to mention once again, there is a $90 price difference between these two GPUs. Do you feel like you're getting $90 more performance with the 5060, along with the weird issue in some games when it comes to VRAM dependency? That's a question I want you guys to decide, but in terms of the overall price performance number, we ran 3D Mark Time Spy and used the GPU score to calculate a simper point score based on the price we paid for each graphics card. And with the RTX 3060 12GB, we ended up with a score of 8,820, which, to be very precise here, because you will see why in a second, ends up being a 0.02237 cents per point score, while the RTX 5060 got a score of 14,052, which ends up being a 0.0213 cents per point score, which means in terms of price performance with this one test, the 5060 is the better price performance option by a very small margin. Even though it's more expensive, you're technically getting more value for your money in this benchmark. Again, this is not a definitive answer that the 5060 is the better price performance option. In these videos, we like to just test a bunch of games, give you all the information, and you let us know in the comments down below what you think and which GPU you prefer. But overall, it's a fun test to see. Hey, we did the 2060 test, we move up to the 3060 to see the gap between these 60 series GPUs to see, is it really as bad as people are saying it is? You all can be the judge of that. Let's bring Jackson back in here and wrap this video up real quick.
Well guys, that was a lot of benchmarking, but I think that the consensus so far is that the 5060 is, of course, better. Now, in terms of price to performance, is it better? Well, marginally. Just a little bit better according to our benchmarking software. We're talking like fractions of a decimal, so it's not like it blows the 3060 out of the water for the $90 more that it costs, but it is cool to see that NVIDIA has actually come a long way, even in terms of the raw hardware with less VRAM.
But every time we test the 5060, we just come back to the same conclusion. If this had 12 gigs of VRAM, it would be the best budget GPU on the market right now. No caveats whatsoever, because again, even though most people don't play the game, Indiana Jones would not run at the same settings. You could not launch it on high settings when this card could launch it because it has 12 gigs of VRAM, and hopefully it doesn't become the norm where other games will end up doing that, more popular titles that you guys will actually play. But it's important to mention for the long-term reliability of both GPUs that it would be nice if there was a 12 gig version of the 5060, but the 3060 12 gig, if you can get it at $200 or less, it does save you about $100 to get a better CPU. But I want to hear from you guys. curious, if you had to choose between the two options in today's market, are you saving the 90 to 100 bucks on this graphics card, or are you going brand new with the 5060? I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below.
But as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's benchmarks. If you did, check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.
So both these GPUs we actually do use at PC Bros, and this one right here that was tested by us will be for sale at any PC Bros PC.
PCBros.tech, we sell gaming PCs, gaming laptops, and, well, gaming PCs with graphics cards in it that we feature here on the YouTube channel. Did you guys know we have a physical store in Louisville, Kentucky? You can actually walk in, say hi to Jake, buy stuff that's not listed on the website. Be sure to do that. Look us up on Google, PC Bros, and use code ToastyBros on checkout if you want to buy online. You'll save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later.